I'm probably going to offend some people in this video, and that's okay, because ultimately I'm making these videos for people who want to take their music seriously, take their musicianship seriously, and want to take their production skill set seriously. And if that's you, then this video should not be offensive, but instead should be a healthy, metaphorical kick in the pants. I have a major problem with MIDI chord packs and melody packs. Now, before y'all jump into the comments and start saying that I am anti-chord packs, I want to start off and very clearly say this. I am not against MIDI chord packs, but I am going to explain the problem with the popularization of MIDI chord packs and the major problem that I have with melody packs, because yes, I do think I am anti-melody packs. I want to just go ahead and start with the positives of chord packs, because as I said, I'm not against them, and I think there are some pros. MIDI chord packs can be a great tool to learning chord progressions, what kinds of chord progressions there are, and how changing the order of chords can alter the feeling of music. At the end of the day, chords and chord progressions are not something you can copyright, so taking and using common chord progressions is totally fine and is actually pretty common practice. I think having loads of ways to look at progressions with different chord voicings is very helpful to those who want to learn how that works, and it can be a practical way of doing it for producers. Okay, so that's the good. But let me ask you this. Is that what MIDI chord packs are being marketed as? And second of all, is that what they're being used for? No, that is not how they're being marketed, and that is not how they're being used. Now, we'll get to melody packs in a second. Now, I'm not going to talk about the people who make these products or name any names, because I don't really need to for us to know how these products are talked about. Language in the marketing behind these products is extremely hyped up. Language like pro chords. Y'all, what the heck is a pro chord? I mean, I have a degree in music composition, which is basically a degree in music theory, and I've never heard of a, quote, pro chord. I mean, this is just a marketing tactic that basically means nothing, except it sounds flashy, and to those who don't really know how to use chords and play chord progressions, they'll be much more susceptible to believing that this is actually a thing when it is not. The way that these products are talked about makes it out to be that your productions won't be great productions without pro chords or without pro melodies, and they're made out to be the solution to creating professional sounding music. And I've seen some examples of melody packs being pitched where the marketing says that you'll make hit songs with these melody packs, like they're the missing link to you making hit songs, and insinuate that you aren't making hits because you don't have their melody packs. I mean, this is really dangerous marketing in my opinion, and is leading people to buy this stuff with expectations that do not align with reality. And we can say that it's all exaggeration but no harm done, but I disagree. Again, if chord packs are used to learn, that's one thing. But if they're being marketed as the secret sauce to professional music and the secret link to making you hit songs, then are you actually buying that product to learn? Or are you buying that product because you think it's the cheat code that you've been missing? I don't think that this requires too much thought to know the answer to that question. So let's go ahead and talk about how MIDI chord packs are actually used now. Now, to be abundantly clear, some people might be using this as a starting point of inspiration. They use it to learn, get the ball rolling, and then move along. But I would argue that most are using MIDI chord packs in such a way where it's a drag and drop solution and nothing more. You drag the MIDI chord progression onto your track, add a sound, and then drag a melody onto that lead line, and then you call it a day. And then if you're layering up those sounds, it's again, drag and drop, copy and paste all those MIDI files from track to track to track. And I really don't see how this is good for the state of musicianship and the future of producers developing into skilled creators. And look, I may have what some of you might call an outdated view about musicianship, but I believe that the best producers are the ones who understand music and how music works. In other words, apart from potentially using MIDI chord packs for nothing more than a starting point of inspiration, I really don't know professional producers actually using these. And what's wild is that some of these companies that make these packs are paying high prices to influencers and YouTube creators to promote their products. So you may see some big YouTuber promoting these products, but the reality is that these guys are getting paid not only usually a sponsor fee up front, but also affiliate sales to promote it. So do they really have your best interest in mind, or is it perhaps likely that many of them are more interested in a quick buck? And I find it highly suspicious that when some of these products hit the market, there's a coordinated marketing scheme laid out for a large sum of content creators to simultaneously promote the same products when they launch them. And I'll be honest, it's a brilliant marketing strategy, but the problem is that the product itself and the marketing itself is highly problematic. I don't have a problem with sponsor deals or affiliate deals. I personally rarely do them. I've done maybe only a handful out of like 200 videos, but when I do, it's because I genuinely believe in that product or that company. So when I say I use XYZ product, I'm telling you the truth. But unfortunately, the same cannot be said for many others. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and say names because I don't know the motivation behind every person. But again, I do know the marketing behind these products and the psychological manipulation happening. I'm not against marketing, by the way. Heck, I run a business. But I'm against marketing that's pitching something as a cheat code to success that is in fact not a cheat code to success. And if you think dropping a MIDI melody is going to make you a hit producer, I'm sorry, but you're delusional. If you think there's even such a thing as pro chords, that's just ignorant. And I'm not saying this to blame you. I'm saying this because it's true. Are there chords that sound more unique and lush and more interesting? Sure, like a major seventh chord is going to sound quite different than a simple major triad, but to call it a pro chord? I mean, here's just a reality check. Like, a professional musician knows that a simple triad can oftentimes be more effective than a complex seventh or ninth chord, depending on the context of the song. And that's not something that you're going to get with these chord packs. Let's go ahead and talk about melodies though for a moment, because this is where I get really disturbed, and I do have a serious problem with these MIDI melody packs. Let me just walk you through a scenario, just so you can understand this issue. Let's just say that you make a song, and you use a melody from a melody pack. It's royalty free, right? You paid for it, so you can use it, no problem. So you use this melody pack, you make a track, and you release it. And what do you know? The song hits it big. It gets millions of streams, radio play, maybe even lands on TV, etc., and you are over the moon. But a month later, you come across another song. The song also has millions of streams, and you listen to it, and the melody is the same. Do you see a problem? Like, you've released a song which is now copyrighted to you, right? But now someone else has used that same melody and released that song, which means that song is copyrighted to them. So who owns the copyright of that melody? Now, I'm not a lawyer, so this isn't me suggesting that I know the legal ramifications of this situation, but I don't think it takes a legal expert to see the potential problem. Let's just step away from the legal argument though for a moment, and let's just think about this from the creative perspective. Do you actually feel good about using a melody in a song that you did not write? I mean, I'll be really direct. I'd feel like garbage if I put out a song that I did not write the melody to. I'm not talking about co-writing. I'm not talking about someone else writing the melody, but we're collaborating in the same room. I'm producing and they're doing some writing. That's totally fine. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about drag and drop. Have we really lost what it means to be a writer or a creative? Have we really just bought into the idea that there is now an easy button to make hit songs, or heck, just making songs in general? I'm sorry, but I cannot get behind the idea that I am a great musician if most of what I'm working with is drag and drop material. And by the way, there is some continuity here. I see this similarly with using pre-recorded patches in sound libraries too. Like, if you have pre-recorded patches, right, that are just triggered by the push of a button and boom, now you have the orchestra playing, I just don't see how I can feel good about using that. And I've tried, right? I've used this kind of software before, and I've never been able to find myself truly attracted to continuing using it because I actually value the creative process of creating my own music that is genuinely my own. You can disagree. That's fine, because I'm well aware that this is an opinion that I have, but it's a strong opinion based on some relatively clear issues. And I personally don't see how you can get over some of these problems. There's some major cognitive dissonance happening. And I don't see how you can in good conscience release music that someone else basically wrote one of the core parts to. And I feel the same about using loops. I think that there is a time and place, but it gets awfully murky if you're using melodic loops, okay? We're not talking about percussion loops. And I don't use melodic loops for the reasons that I've explained so far. My point of view is simple. I believe that making music is beautiful because of the creative process, and part of that creative process should be a desire to learn how to create. I just don't understand how we've become so incredibly lazy with learning how to do things. Like using MIDI packs to learn, that's something I can get behind. But using MIDI packs as a crutch or a cheat code is something I personally find highly problematic. And I get that not everyone knows how to use chords or use chord progressions, but the reality is that anyone can learn this stuff. Like there's no magic button. It's not like there's magical information that only some of us have. I had to learn. I had to learn how to play chords and how to use chords before I could actually do it. Someone had to teach it to me. And I think that is a good thing. The internet is so full of free information on this stuff. And there are lessons, whether that's in person or whether that's online that you can take. There are courses you can enroll in, whether it be in person or in line. Trust me, the abundance of information is rich and waiting for you. So I encourage you to stop buying into the sick marketing behind these products and stop believing that these products will change your life when they won't. I have a whole video where I talk about musicianship that we actually just published on the channel and how it relates to producers. It's right here. I think you're gonna find it very helpful and insightful, and I articulate these thoughts around musicianship. I'll see you there, and I would love to hear your comments in the comment section down below as well. We'll see you soon.